Guys, welcome back to the Digital Marketing Tracking Master course. You're on the way to become one of the best tracking masters that the ad world needs. Now, what does tracking actually mean? Let's backtrack and start with a small story. In 1922, John Wanamaker is considered to be the first guy who ever advertised in a newspaper. And he came up with a very famous line which says, "Half the money that I spent in advertising is lost. I just don't know which half." Now that explains why is it so important to track your efforts, your money and your ad spends, because your results are coming in. Agreed. Advertising is nothing but buying traffic from whatever source, whether it's Google, it was newspapers in those days, then it became radio, then it became television, now it's all digital. If you start looking at the digital ecosystem, you can buy traffic from a lot of sources, whether it's Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. There are numerous sources. Now, if you don't know which half of the money that you're spending on these platforms is not fetching you the returns that you need, you know what to do. You just need to get your act right and start getting to track these results. Tracking does not mean what you get in the native ad interfaces. For example, okay, I'm running Google Ads. Google Ads gives me the number of clicks I get, impressions I get, CTR, conversions. Hell, what else do I need? But that's just not enough, What you need to understand is having a system in place where you can start looking at everything at once, all the channels, all the sources, bifurcating them through different links or different trackers available, then looking at what is actually happening gives you a more realistic picture. If you remember the Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the efforts will result in 80% of the results. If you start looking at the 80-20 rule, 80% of results can be achieved by just tweaking or changing 20% of the things. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. 80% of your problems are caused by 20% of the things. 80% of your wealth is created by 20% of the businesses that you deal with, or 20% of what you do right. The focus should be on how do you increase your efficiency so that you keep doing this and identify those 20% of the things that you're doing right and nurture them. As I said, advertising is nothing but buying traffic from different sources. At what price do you buy the traffic? And how much are you getting out of that in terms of selling your product or service is at the end of the day your profit. Now, if you do not know how this is done, and if you do not have a clarity on what's happening between these 2 points of you buying the ads and you getting the sales, there is something seriously wrong with the business model, and it is bound to fail today or tomorrow. There are a lot of tools in the market. People selling you tools that do everything for you. Automation, you don't need to be there. It's on autopilot. But guys, think about it. Without a strategy, your automation is utter waste. It's like me having no clue about skiing, but I have the world's expensive skiing shoes. It doesn't matter if I don't have a strategy in place. Doesn't matter how expensive is your URL tracker. You just need to get the foundations right. First things first, you should believe that tracking is more important to your business than anything else ever was. Now, basically, if you start splitting this process into parts, it's just a 3-part process. Analyze the traffic that you're coming from. Look at what are you spending to get this traffic. Once you get this traffic, identify what this traffic is translating into in terms of revenue for your business. The third thing is you need to find out what resulted in the profits. You need to optimize, rinse, and repeat. That's as simple as it can get. Well, I have just said as if it's like an easy peasy task, but tracking these things needs a lot of information, a lot of patience, a lot of effort and willful effort, which means that you need to feel it, that you need to track these things, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Now, you may come up with a lot of reasons. In fact, I had a lot of such inhibitions before I started taking tracking seriously, and that's one reason I felt the need for making this course, because I feel that all of us would connect to this at one stage or the other. I am a creative guy. I just need to identify which platform gets me the best results, and I'm done. I don't need to do anything else apart from that, because after all, I'm a digital marketer, and digital marketer runs ads. Now, that was back in the day, guys. Today, job descriptions are changing everywhere. A digital marketer needs to be aware of what analysis platforms to use, how is analysis done, what is your analysis proving, because creation is pretty much getting automated these days, and the only thing left that humans or machines cannot do completely on their own without human logic is data analysis. If you don't look at this as something which is going to be exploding in the next few months or years, there is something seriously wrong with our approach. Now, you may come up with a lot of reasons. I'm a creative person. I don't need data. I hate math. whatever is your reason, I just understand that the ability to analyze things and make things better based upon the analysis, come up with better insights, can only make you richer, can only fill your pockets, because the data that you will be analyzing is primarily revolving around how do you increase the ROI for your business. Now, this is not just about any tool. This is not just about one tool that you will learn and then you can become a master. This is about understanding the whole ecosystem, the whole framework of how tracking is possible, or what can tracking do for you, because you can implement that to any number of businesses irrespective of the nature of the business and irrespective of the scale of the business. So I hope you will stick with me in this and let's explore this thing together. Now, ROI, which is a very, very famous and the most wanted activity or the most discussed activity in any of the business, all of these things put together, if you still think this is not for you, if you still think this is not something that you would want to do or would be interested to do, or if you think that maybe my business does not need tracking, we need to rethink our entire approach and our entire business model. I hope this session gives you enough context as to why tracking is so important. If you start looking at things from the right mindset and having a bird's eye view of your ROI, I think you will seriously understand why tracking is more important than ever. My name is Casey, signing off until